Hello to everybody joining us on YouTube. We'll be starting our concert in about 10 minutes. Thanks for joining us here on YouTube. We'll be starting our concert in about 5 minutes. The first song of our concert will start in about 1 minute. In. And next to me is Brent White, jazz director, and just next to him is Luca Bruzio. Thank you for joining us here on YouTube. I hope you're enjoying the concert, and with that, I will hand it over to Brent.
I would just like to welcome everyone tonight to this show. I know you're wondering probably like, how did you put this together? Or more so, why did you put this together? Or even more so, how did all these pieces come together? And we want to do our best to share those details with you over there. So we want to share some of the behind the scenes details that are going on today. And we want to also share um, just all the work that went into and all the students, because the students are the ones who really made this happen. First thing I wanted to just say, the first tune was Sleigh Ride, and it was actually based off of a Duke Pearson arrangement. And I just wanted to also say that we also did all the mixing and we did all of the mastering on our end. So all the students also participated in that way. I see there's a lot of people participate in the chat right now, and I would like to say if you have any questions, please continue to put them in the chat. We'll try to catch up with them later at the end, and there will be a Q&A at the end, and we'll take some of the questions in the chat. And so at this time, I just wanted to just introduce Luke, and I wanted to bring Nate too in there at the same time. And Luke actually wrote the next arrangement of Home for the Holidays, and Nate spent the time mixing and mastering. And I just wanted to just introduce you guys this evening.
Can I say something?
Yes, say something, please.
Well, thank you, everybody. I'm Luca Bruzzo. I'm the music program director in the Department of Performing Arts at Drexel. And I want to thank my esteemed colleagues, Nick Jagician and Brent White, for putting this together. I had very little to do with it, except a few weeks ago, I threw an arrangement on them and said, here, try this. So, and I want to thank so much the students involved in this program, not just the jazz orchestra, but the digital media and students in particular who helped make this come to fruition. In this time too, it's hard enough with everybody just trying to do their day in and day out stuff remotely, and then to take on, an extra project that is really kind of experimental for us, I think was very courageous of everybody, and I'm sure it's a tremendous success. So I just want to express my gratitude to everybody involved, and happy holidays.
Hey Nate, if you could just say a little bit about the mixing process and some of the things that you did for this next piece. Some of the things that you had to do with the stems and some of some of what it meant to sort of mix and bring it up to speed. Because I do need to say that we sent everybody a green screen. So if you're wondering how this happened, every student was mailed a green screen, and they put it up in various places in their homes. They found places to screen at home. And also the recordings also were done on whatever was available. So some students had cell phones, and we made do with cell phones. Some had microphone, little studio setups. So we always made do with the students, and this is all about sort of how can we do our best with COVID. And so, so Nate, can you just tell a little bit about the mixing process?
Yeah, like what Brent said, this entire process was very interesting. It was definitely a challenge for sure. I just want to thank Professor Bruzzo, especially for the arrangement. And everyone did a fantastic job. So really, it wasn't that hard for me to put it together, but there's definitely a lot of different things, little challenges you have to overcome, because everyone has access to different recording equipment, for example. So, some people had their cameras, or not their cameras, their phones. Some people had more of like an actual setup, so it was a little bit easier. But so in the recording you're about to hear, I mixed all 4 of our drum set players in, so they're all in there. Fantastic job. So really, it wasn't that hard for me to Sorry to hear myself there. It was an interesting thing. So put a ton of compression, EQ on everything for the most part. Try to make it sound very natural. And hope you guys enjoy.
Okay, so next we're going to hear Home for the Holidays.
So I guess, is it my turn?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So, Brent was talking with Nate about the fact that the school set green screens out to each one of the students that performed in the concert. The students in the green screens in their hands, found where I could go, and sending it to a group of students in my class. I teach about in the digital media department, and just checking here, let's add another microphone. The virtual reality program works with all of these computer graphics that you see. So everything that was put around the students and getting the students into those spaces was done by the digital media students. A few of them are here in the Zoom meeting. I see Tyrone has got his video on. Each of the students in about 12, 13 were in this class created different parts of the scene that you saw around all the musicians. So some people created the snow, others created the mountains, others created the wood plank stage. And so essentially that's how it all came together. None of us knew at the start of the fall quarter that we would be doing this. It was an idea that Brent came to us with at the beginning and said, I'd like to do a jazz concert with an animation. And it just happened to be that I was already teaching this course in virtual production, which was intended to teach about how you could create concerts and TV shows mostly in the computer. So it just seemed like the perfect time to put that all to use. All the students, the musicians, as well as the digital media students, all stepped up to the challenge. I think they all got a pretty big grin when they heard the idea initially. I think between Brent and I, we started talking about the idea, and I don't know if we were excited about it or just really hoping someone would talk us down from the ledge, but no one did, and we just kept on doing it, and the students absolutely really delivered just this amazing set of visuals and amazing music. So really impressed with everyone. There are actually quite a few of the digital media students that are in the Zoom and are listening. They just don't have their cameras on. So I think with that, we could probably introduce the next song.
Okay, and then so the next song was a Greg Scott arrangement of Nutcracker Suite. It was taken off the original Duke Ellington, and we will be showcasing 3 movements. It will be the Overture, it will be Rum Cherry, and then it'll be Peanut Brittle Brigade. Enjoy. Yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed the Nutcracker Speak, enjoyed those three movements. Now, I just wanted to take the opportunity to sort of check some of the questions in the chat. So if if you want any questions answered, please place them in the chat. I see a lot of praise and support, but there's some things that if you have any questions you want to ask us, the students are we're all more willing or available to answer these questions for you. At this time, I just wanted to just give a little more behind the scenes. So I would like to bring Amelia to the forefront, and just to discuss maybe a memorable or challenging thing that happened, or any of the behind the scenes things that might have been happening.
Sure, thank you. So this has been definitely a very memorable term, and for me, this is my last term, and I knew that we were probably going to have online classes, so I wasn't sure how jazz was going to work out, but I was very pleased with the fact that we were still able to put something together, and it's definitely exceeded my expectations. So a little bit about behind the scenes. We had to record all of our audio and then all of our video separately on green screens, as mentioned before. And I think audio is honestly one of the more challenging parts, because since it's pre-recorded, you have to make sure every single note is perfect and as in time as possible. So I remember one time I would just keep recording, and then every time I messed up, I would start a new recording, and I looked down and I had like 55 recordings of the same segment. So I think that's probably relatable to a lot of us. We all spent a lot of time just working through all the notes and rhythms to make it perfect, but I think it was definitely worth it in the end.
Thank you for that. And so it's also a part also in the visual arts department, virtual reality department. There's also a portion to that. So can you tell me more about that, working through the process, or is it possible that you show us anything that they can see something behind the scenes in terms of what that process looked like?
Sure. I think I'll need to. I think I'll need to share my screen to do that.
Okay.
So let's share that. And okay. So this screen that you're seeing is a tool called Unreal Engine. It is literally the same tool used to create video games like Fortnite. Fortnite is created in this, which is why this has a little bit of a video game look to it. Basically, this whole world that you see was created by the digital media VR students. There's this whole park area that never got shown in the concert itself, just in case we needed it. There were trees and park benches and hills and mountains and all of that, and then in the middle of all of this is this stage, and so that the students had to light this stage, create like each one of these sets of planks is another piece, and they all need to be put into place. And then of course there's all of the musicians. The green screen videos that the musicians recorded were processed by each of the students in the VR program, where they removed the green screen, just leaving the musician for the most part. Some of the drums had some touchy things to take care of, but we managed to pull that off. I think one of the more interesting things too is that there's this piano over here. So one of our students actually modeled this piano, and we were able to position it in a way that it looks like this is being played, and it gives us a little bit of extra depth when we move the camera around. But the reality is that all of the musicians are just essentially cardboard cutouts. If we come around behind the stage, they kind of all disappear. But what you see is that each musician, that was a piece of, the musician did their work, and then a digital media student did work to bring that visual into this world. The snow was created by a student, and along with the little music stand blockers. And so this is essentially what we work in and how we do it. And this is kind of like the wizard, or what's going on behind the scenes in this production. So hopefully that shows you a little bit of what was going on.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. So now I'd just like to let first, did we see anything in the chat? Is anything in the chat that needs to be answered that could be answered from the floor by one of the students? Because we had the one question, right?
Yeah, I think there was also one question about what are the pros and cons of being like recording at home versus being in person. So I think one of the things was that at home you can basically play the rhythm perfectly to yourself along with a metronome, but it's still very hard to sync up with all of the other people in your section. So I think one of the benefits of being in person was probably just being able to be right next to your fellow section mates and lining everything up like that. But I think it was really cool that we also got to work with an entire another department that we don't usually get to, and that presented a really cool opportunity.
Okay, thank you for that. Does anybody else want to say something about pros and cons? Or I told y'all to speak up. Remember we talked about this beforehand.
It was particularly difficult for the drums because, especially with jazz, it's so much about listening to the other musicians and like feeding off of them. And a lot of it is improvisational. So it's really hard to do that when you're just by yourself, like in your room or in your basement, trying to jam out and have fun, but you're all alone.
Okay.
So I'll say,
come on, Nate.
Okay, I think Josh had something too, but I guess everyone was saying some cons. I think one of the pros is that as a music industry student myself, I'm very used to recording like directly in like stuff like that. And throughout this process, if I understand everyone didn't have the exactly right recording setup, but for someone like me, I found it very useful because I was able to go right in and like if I hit a wrong note, like I'm able to immediately perfect it. So like I had the feeling of whatever I was sending in was going to be to my best ability. Whereas sometimes live, you mess up quite horribly. And there's nothing you can do about it. Yeah.
That's a good pro. Josh, did you have something you want to say?
I think for me, it would probably, I guess as a con would probably just be like the fact that I just didn't have like a camera crew. So if I had to like record something, I had a let me see. It's not showing up. Well, there it is. Like my curtain's over there to the right. I had to like take down the rod and then hang up the green screen in its place and then like put it over my air conditioner and like I didn't have a tripod. I think I got a tripod towards the end, but most of the video recordings I had to like stick my phone in between books and like hope it was at the right height. And then I tried to start the camera from my Apple Watch or from my phone. Like it was a whole thing. So not having not either A, having a permanent setup where I could set it up once and then leave it, or B, having like, a team that could do like different, do like the camera stuff for me. I'd say that was like being a one-man show was probably difficult. So
yeah, you said you needed a drone or something, right? Something to help out with the camera angles, right?
I got to tell you, I had no idea that you could stop and start the iPhone camera with an Apple Watch, which of course, like you just taught me something about digital media, Joshua. Just wanted to let you know. You guys were so resourceful. I mean, again, on the digital media side, we're actually used to working with the film department and using all these really big film cameras, and there's like a huge studio with a big green screen wall, and you guys had cell phones and these green sheets, and it was just amazing that you guys pulled it all off. You're lucky that I ran out of time because I so was going to put together a bloopers reel of all of you like hitting stop and start and things falling down in the background. But there just wasn't time. Oh well.
So for the final piece, we're gonna play something just audio, and I'm gonna ask Grace because she took a lot of time to mix and she took a lot of time to work on this, and I'm just ask Grace to sort of speak about her mixing process. She's also a music industry major, and talk about the process of mixing this final song is Santa Claus. We're going to just roll the credits, afterwards, and so it's going to play along with the credits. But I do want to check the chat one more time to make sure there aren't any more questions. But Grace, can you speak a little bit about the process?
So it was really great to use the classes that I've been taking in music industry and kind of apply them to something that was outside of school, which was, it made me feel a bit better about my own skills, I guess, in that kind of field. So I used Logic, and there were about like 20 tracks that, I just wanted to try to find spaces for each of them. So maybe EQ a bit of one, so then another piece of a track could stick out a little bit more. And it was kind of, mixing is definitely a process of finding balance. And it was really enjoyable to do. And I want to thank Brent for the opportunity to, let me do this. So, yeah.
Okay, I saw a few questions. I seen one that asked about the setup of YouTube, and wait, let me find it. Yeah, there's the number of questions. So I lost it, but
I can address the YouTube
yeah,
question.
yep. Zoom. It says Zoom into OBS feeding. What's the setup? Is it a Zoom into OBS feeding?
Yes, apparently someone already knows the answer. So basically, one piece of hardware that makes this happen is Blackmagic ATEM Mini. So it's a tiny, tiny little box that allows for multiple video feeds to be connected. And so there is a hardware playback deck that has all of the music on it, and it's playing into that ATEM Mini. There's one computer that is on the Zoom call with everyone that's on stage, what we're saying here, and that computer is also feeding into that ATEM Mini. So that box allows us to switch between the different video sources. That's going into a completely free software tool called Open Broadcast Software, OBS, and then that's just relaying everything to YouTube for everybody to see.
Pretty cool. We have one more question. This is from Erin Truesdale. Hey, Erin, how you doing? she's so Erin is online. So she asked, how much did the musicians know the visuals, like what was happening? How much? So when did you actually see everything? So can you explain like when you actually finally saw everything come together? Anybody? I told y'all don't be shy.
Yeah, I was just going to say, we got a quick preview basically Tuesday of this week of what the video would look like. And we saw a snapshot of the stage maybe a couple weeks ago, but that's pretty much it. So this is pretty exciting for us to watch as well.
Yeah, so the students are seeing, essentially seeing it for the first time as you are. So everyone is all experiencing this all live together. And then one last question, and then I have is that, what lessons do you take away from the experience after going through the pandemic? It'll be our final question.
I mean, I'll take it from a perspective of being a drummer. Like Rosalie said, like as a drummer, you feed off of the other musicians' energy. So I definitely appreciate playing with other people more, for sure.
What about on the virtual reality side? Are there any is there anything that changes with your process through this, in terms of, any?
Just close your eyes and hold on. This was. The thing that was really amazing was that the students on the virtual reality side are used to presenting a whole bunch of different concepts, their ideas about what something might or possibly could look like. And usually a director or some executive decides that, oh, that's the one I want. Instead, this group of students, a little over a dozen students, presented Brent with all these ideas about what the stage could look like, and he said, "Yeah, let's do all of those things." So, oh, okay. All right. So everyone has to create a piece of this because he didn't choose the stage or the mountains or the park. He chose all the things. And so, I think that it was all about working nimbly, and the students in particular. You guys should chime in a little bit, and I don't have the impression that you guys were overwhelmed. We tried to make it so that there were enough tasks and enough students that everyone had just one or two things to do in any given week, and it all came together in the end. So.
Anybody else? All right. So I would just like to thank everyone for coming and coming and joining us on YouTube tonight. And I just wanted to just give it one more time, let you know we're going to roll the credits with this is Grace Allen. She mixed the final piece, Santa Claus, and we're going to leave you on that note. So I hope you have a happy holidays, and I also hope that you have a great season. All right, take care.